Ladies and gentlemen, from the Target Truck Studios in Detroit, Michigan, this is Target Trucks 1987 with Jordan Rose.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's very nice. Welcome to Target Trucks. Now, in today's program, we're going to talk about some very special trucks and some very special people. Recreational buyers. And these people buy a lot of trucks. But I got to tell you, these are no-nonsense truckers. Now, when they come in, they're not going to settle for any shallow claims or fancy slogans. They want the details. They want hard facts. They're not an easy sale. So when they come into your showroom, you better be able to talk trucks the way they talk trucks. Let's give a listen.
Why did you buy a four-wheel drive truck?
I like to have the ability to choose the type of terrain I want to drive on, whether it's sand, mud, two-tracking, whatever be the case, and have the security of knowing I can make it.
Well, what gives you that security?
The performance of the vehicle, the components that it's made up of.
Like what?
I think it's important to have strong axles, good solid gears in the rear, and the proper gear for your tire size, and a nice tire selection with shocks. You want it to look good, but if it doesn't perform, it's not worth much.
If I did it over, I'd look for different things. I'd look to get more things installed at the factory due to cost, mostly. Things you can get at the factory, gears, get a higher gear ratio, get different suspension parts put on at the factory, and you save, the money you save is phenomenal. And I think if I had known that, if I had had a salesman or somebody that had brought that to my attention, possibly I would have got something else, something a little different.
Now, these people are serious about their trucks. Now, their idea of fun is performance. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't think much about performance when you think of trucks. But to these people, performance components are just as important as they are to a sports car enthusiast. So to kind of take a look and understand what they're looking for in a four-wheel drive vehicle, let's start and go from the ground up. Now, I've got a sampling of tires here off of an S10 Blazer. Now, this is just a sampling because on an S10 Blazer, there are like 8 different choices of tires. On the S10 pickup, there are like 13 different choices of tires. And there are over 30 different choices of tires on the full-size pickups. But this will give you an idea of some of the differences that we're talking about. Now, first is the P195. Now, this is a good tire for on-road use. Now, this is standard on your two-wheel drive S10 models. But this tire, what we're talking about here now, we're talking about off-road people. So this on-road tire, we don't really need it. We'll get rid of that one, okay? Now, we come to the P205s. I've got 2 of these here. Wheel them out, and I'll show you. We've got an all-season tread over here. And then we've got an on-road, off-road tread over here. Now, these tires, again, they're excellent tires for people that drive in some rough weather and that occasionally go off-road. But again, these tires are just not right for the people that we're talking about here. So let's get rid of those babies. Okay, now we come to the P235. This is the tire for the people that we're talking about. Now, this is a steel-belted radial. Take a look at the tread. It's over 2 inches wider than the P195. Now, this is toothier grip on this particular tread, which helps for loose dirt, sand, gravel, snow, any off-road conditions. This tire is the perfect tire for these people that spend 50% of their time on-road, 50% of their time off-road. Now, you'll also notice it's a larger tire, which means on your vehicle it helps you get a little better ground clearance. Let's take a look. Let's look up at the monitors there. Okay. Now, you can see where those P235s, they really do a job as far as helping your ground clearance. But the heart of every four-wheel drive vehicle is the four-wheel drive system. Now, here we have a four-wheel drive system off of an S10. It's called InstaTrack, and it's standard. Now, this is a transfer case, front drive shaft to the differential, the front differential up here. Now, watch what happens. It's going to be a nice little demonstration for you. We're going to put this on, and here we are. We're going down the road now in two-wheel drive, okay? Now watch what happens when I shift this lever. Now the power has been transferred from the transfer case, the front drive shaft, to the front differential, out to the front wheels. Now you're in four-wheel drive. You're four-wheel drive high, and you've done that without stopping or missing a beat. Now you want to shift into four-wheel drive low. You simply stop the truck. You don't have to turn it off. I'm only doing that here because of the electric motors. You just stop the truck. You make sure that it's in neutral, the transmission. You take this, you shift it back here, you step on the gas. Now, You're in four-wheel drive low. You're ready for any condition, going up a hill, gravel, sand, mud, any off-road condition. Now, a lot of other manufacturers have been making a lot of claims about their shift-on-the-fly systems being as good as InstaTrack. Well, nothing measures up. And to tell us why, I've invited a General Motors engineer from the driveline and components department to come down here with us and be with us this evening, and I want you to help me give him a nice, warm welcome, Mr. Chuck Keppel. Hi, Chuck.
Hello, Jordan.
How are you?
Just fine.
Nice to see you. Okay, Chuck, I've just been showing the people here about the InstaTrack system. I wonder if you would come down here and tell us why no other system measures up to the InstaTrack.
One of the biggest advantages of InstaTrack is obvious right here, Jordan. There are no hub locks to engage or disengage.
Don't have to get out and turn anything.
Not a thing.
Okay.
The front axle shafts are directly connected to the front wheels and connected to the rest of the four-wheel drive system through the front differential. When shifting from two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive, you can do that at any speed at all. And shifting back to two-wheel drive puts you back into the freewheeling mode.
Okay, now that's what I was just going to ask you. When you do shift into two-wheel drive, then you go into freewheeling. Okay, now if you're in freewheeling, what are the advantages of freewheeling?
In the freewheeling mode, you avoid any unnecessary wear on the four-wheel drive componentry. That's one of the bigger advantages. Secondly, the handling of the vehicle is the same as a two-wheel drive truck, any rear-wheel drive vehicle.
Okay.
And thirdly, fuel economy is improved because the front ring and pinion gears are not turning and the transfer case gears aren't turning.
Okay, so in other words, all of this mechanism up here would not be working like it would, say, on a full-time four-wheel drive vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay, well, that's terrific. Now, you know we sell a lot of compact trucks, but Chuck, you know as well as I do that some people just won't have it any other way than full-size Chevy truck.
That's right.
So I know you've got a little display counter set up over here. Why don't you show me what the full-size four-wheel drive system, you know, looks like and does?
Let's do that.
Okay, get out of your way here. All righty.
Thank you. The full-size truck uses a conventional four-wheel drive system that involves manual hub locks and a non-synchronized transfer case. As you can tell, in this mode, we're in the freewheeling mode.
Right.
The hub is unlocked and the wheel is free to turn without being connected to the axle shaft.
Okay.
In order to go into four-wheel drive, you get out of the vehicle and turn each of the front hub locks to the engaged position.
Okay.
Then when you shift the transfer case into four-wheel drive, the drive shaft turning will turn the axle shaft, complete the shift within the hub lock, and you're in four-wheel drive.
Okay. Now, how do you go back into two-wheel drive?
Shift back into two-wheel drive,
Okay.
stop the truck, get out, turn each of the knobs on each side, and you're back in freewheeling.
Okay, so then you're freewheeling again once you do that.
That's right.
Okay, now, what's the difference, say, in this hub that you brought for me and this one over here? Let me get this out of your way.
Some of us are just a little bit lazy and like the convenience of not having to get out of the truck to shift the hub locks.
Okay.
This is an automatic hub lock system and allows you to shift with the synchronized transfer case that comes with it into four-wheel drive from any speed up to 25 miles per hour.
Okay.
When you shift into four-wheel drive, the axle shaft turns a camming device within the hub lock and engages the hub. Once it's engaged, it's the same condition as a manual hub lock is. It allows you to have engine braking and drive.
Okay. Now, how do you get this one back into two-wheel drive?
Well, that's pretty easy, too.
Okay.
Stop the truck, shift into two-wheel drive, back up about 10 feet, and as you do, the hub lock disengages. And you're back in freewheeling.
Okay. Well, that's terrific. Look, Chuck, I want to thank you for taking the time to come down here. It's a terrific demonstration and bringing these hubs for us, and I just really appreciate it.
Thank you for
very
having
much.
me.
Let's have a nice hand for Chuck Keppel. Terrific. Thank you. That's great. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the guts, the bone and the muscle of the vehicle, okay? Now, Chevy offers an off-road package in their S10s. It's actually an off-road chassis package in their S10s, and I want to point out some of the features it has because it has a lot of terrific features. In addition to the P235s, it has, you come here, it's got heavy-duty torsion bars right here. These heavy-duty torsion bars go from this lower control arm back to this cross member back here. Now, these heavy-duty torsion arms, what they do, these torsion bars, what they do is they twist and they turn and they help you soak up all of the kind of the jolts and the bumps that you'll get when you're doing some heavy-duty off-roading. And believe me, off-roading, the torsion bars, the heavy-duty torsion bars are worth their weight in gold. Now, we move up here and we take a look at the shocks. Now these are Delco Bilstein gas pressurized shocks. Now these shocks are specifically made to take that tremendous up and down jolting that you get when you're doing a lot of off-roading as they call it. Now, regular shocks, from all of that tremendous jolts going up and down, constantly working up and down, they can become aerated, which means they get these tiny little air bubbles in there and they totally lose their effectiveness. It's not any good at all. Now the Delco Bilstein gas pressurized shocks, you won't have that problem. They're made to take that jolting and that pounding that you have from off-road. Now, I want to ask you people, don't say anything, just raise your hands. How many of you out there know what this is? Ooh, well, got one hand there. Okay, now I'm going to tell you, the people that come in to your showroom to buy these trucks, they can tell you what this is. This is a heavy-duty Jounce bumper. Now, let me show you what it does. This Jounce bumper goes right down here. Now, it's on the left and the right side, of course. It's on both sides. And what it does is it keeps the lower control arm from coming up and banging into the frame, which would give a heck of a joke to your passengers inside. Just jolt them real hard in there. So that's what it does. It absorbs that jolt that you would get from the lower control arm up to the frame. That's what that does. Now let's move around to the front here. And I want to take a look. This is your heavy-duty stabilizer bar right up here in front. Now this heavy-duty stabilizer bar is well named because it does stabilize the ride of the vehicle. Now what that does is that in turns, in hard turns, it helps control body lean. Now here you've got tow hooks right up here in the front. You've got tow hooks. Now that's in case you run across a friend in a ditch that doesn't own an S10. Hook him up there and pull him right out. Now here you've got protective shields, a skid plate underneath the front differential. Come around over on this side. Back here, you can see we have a protective shield here underneath your transfer case. And you also have another shield that would be underneath your fuel tank, a skid pad. Now that's a complete team. Now you combine that with a tough Chevy ladder-type frame and these variable rate leaf springs that are in the rear, and you've got a package that's unsurpassed in the industry. Performance. You've got performance here that people who know about four-wheeling know exactly what you're talking about. Now, similar features are available as either standard or optional equipment on full-size 4x4 Chevy trucks. Now, as Chuck was telling us a minute ago, as there are differences in four-wheel drive systems, there are also differences in full-size suspensions. We got a little diagram here if you want to look up there at your monitors. You can see this is of a four-wheel drive full-size Chevy truck. Now, instead of torsion bars, this has reverse arch tapered leaf springs in the front. Now, on your full-size Chevy 10 and 20 models, you can get, they have available front quad shocks. Now the front quad shocks, what they do is they help control power hop in the front wheels, and they help with traction as far as keeping those wheels in contact with the ground. Now let's talk just for a minute about corrosion. Everybody's concerned about that. All Chevy trucks have outstanding corrosion protection. Now what they do is they have extensive use of two-sided galvanized steel and zinc-rich primers and even more, because this guy is not going to be stopped or held up by some little old bitty mud hole. Now another thing he doesn't want to do in there is he doesn't want to get stuck. He doesn't want to have a loss of traction and be stuck in that mud hole. So one thing that he is not going to do without is a locking rear differential. Now without a locking differential, one of the rear wheels can lose traction in slippery conditions. A locking rear differential causes both wheels to lock up, providing positive drive to both rear wheels instead of just one. But it only locks up at speeds under 20 miles per hour. Now that's to prevent rear axle steering on slippery surfaces at higher speeds. And you can get it on every Chevy 4x4 except Big Dually, where the dual rear wheels perform much the same function. Now we've given a lot of time in this program to off-road truckers, but no review of serious recreational trucks would be complete without a look at another kind of trucker, people who haul trailers. Now that's just a glimpse of what some of these Chevy trucks can tow. How about that big dually, huh? 13,000 pounds. Ah, terrific. Now even that compact 4x4 can tow up to 4,000 pounds. Now, the growth in recreational vehicles in the past few years has been absolutely phenomenal. In fact, since 1980, it has doubled. So it's no surprise that 1 out of every 6 vehicles that you see on the road has some type of a permanently attached trailer hitch. Unfortunately, a lot of vehicles that are sold to tow a truck or a trailer are not equipped to do the job. Listen to this man.
A couple of years ago, I bought a vehicle from this salesman who told me I'd have no trouble at all hauling my camper. Well, I told him my trailer was over 7,000 pounds, but he told me the truck could tow a lot more than that. Well, I'm in the Rockies, halfway to Yellowstone with my family, and I gotta pull over every 5 minutes to let people pass. The thing just didn't have enough engine. I mean, the suspension was way too soft. Rear end was almost dragging. Wasn't exactly one of the high points of our vacation.
Now that's a shame. Now, for that man, for his next truck, should he ever buy a next truck, to do the job for him, the proper job, it's going to have to be properly equipped. And there's a lot more to it than just slapping a trailer hitch on the back of the truck. Because trailering vehicles, they're under a lot of stress, whether they're running down in the desert one day or flat ground, and then the next day they're up in the mountains. And when they're up in the mountains, they have literally, they're towing in the mountains, they've got literally thousands of pounds of weight pulling in the opposite direction. Now, Chevy trucks are made for this kind of work. With our strong ladder-type frames, our rear springs, our rear-wheel drive, they're made to do these kinds of jobs. But in order for them to do the jobs properly, they have to be properly equipped so that they can tow their maximum weight. Now, you want to do that with your customers. Go to your trailering guide. Now, your trailering guide is going to help you. It's going to show you how to set these trucks up, how to properly spec a truck for a customer. I'm going to show you how easy it is to use the trailering guide. I've got a blow-up here. This is from page 10. Right here, this is from page 10 now. This is on the Suburban. Now, let's take this gentleman right here. Say he came in. You know his vehicle already. It's over 7,000 pounds. That's what he said. His camper was over 7,000 pounds. Trace along the top up here. You see 6,000, 8,000. Well, you've got to look under 8,000 because his vehicle is over 7,000 pounds. Now, you follow down this list, you'll see things in black lettering and red lettering. Now, wherever things are in the red lettering, that is a required option. Now, that's a required option, folks. That's different than just an option. That means in order for that truck to do the job that it should do, those options are required so that truck can do the proper job. You follow down and you see things like your cooler, your engine oil, your transmission oil, which is all under the cooler. You follow over, you see it's in red, required option. Tell your customer, in fact, strongly recommend to your customer that he take those required options so his truck can do the proper job. Qualify that customer. Find out what his job requirements are, what he's going to do with that truck. Now, once you've done that, the rest is easy. Now all you have to do is get him a trailer hitch. And again, go to your trailering guide. It makes it very simple for you. There's 3 basic styles of trailer hitches. I've got them laid out here for you. Now, first is the step bumper. The step bumper, which has a hitch on it, and this is available on most trucks. And you see the ball is right here. It just attaches down in there. And this particular type hitch is good for towing up to 4,000 pounds. Then the next one is a deadweight hitch. Now, this deadweight hitch fastens underneath like to the frame and the bumper. And this is good for smaller jobs, but for towing things up to about 2,000 pounds. Now we come to the one for any towing need. I mean, this really hauls the big stuff. This is the load distributing hitch platform. Now, it connects to the frame on the right and the left side, and what that means is that no matter what you're towing back there, that weight is evenly distributed throughout the frame of the vehicle. So all you have to do, use your trailering guide, use these aids that we have, use your 1987 Chevy Trucks Target Selling Guide, which is here. Go to your Chevy Truck Facts book, look in here, find out how to properly spec that truck for your customer. You're going to sell a lot more trucks. And once you have that knowledge, you're just going to be amazed how easy it is to show that customer how this and this translates into some serious fun. Thank you very much.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Anywhere they're going, those Chevy trucks keep rolling with pride. On or off the road, four-wheeling, freedom is the feeling that goes with that great Chevy ride. Load 'em up, hit the road, hitch 'em up, get away. Trucking with Chevy pride. Get 'em in, take a look, spec 'em out, rig 'em out. Trucking with Chevy pride. Rollin', 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 rollin'.